When Amran got in touch with me and asked me if I wanted to try out the Pano 120C, the Peak battery and the Pano 60C2 light kit, I was definitely interested to try them out and see if I could actually replace my current setup for something smaller but just as powerful. I wanted to get some space back in my studio, and I also wanted to see if these three lights could actually make for a decent 3-point lighting setup, which I'll show you later. So the Pano 120C arrived first. It was literally laptop sized, about 14 by 10 inches and 1.6 kilograms, which is basically the weight of a bag of flour. So I plugged it in, hit the power button, and my room literally lit up like I'd opened the blinds during the day. So I have a big window over there and I have a little window over here as well. So this room does get a lot of light during the daytime. So having a light that kind of matches that or gets very close in something this size is pretty awesome. So for context, a desk lamp would probably give you maybe 300 lux, and this little panel gives you up to 13,490 at arm's length. So the next thing I did was snap on the low profile softbox, which is basically like putting a pillowcase over a light to soften it. And the result surprisingly looked like natural daylight, and all from a light that you could literally slip into a bag no bigger than a laptop size. And it's also very quiet when it runs, so there's no chance of it ruining your audio whilst you're recording because you can't hear it in the background. So this is the light with the softbox. You basically just place the softbox in front of the light, and the white straps inside the softbox stop the light from falling through, and the black straps help to secure the softbox on the light. And then once you've put that on, you can then put the honeycomb grid on with the Velcro. Now, I mentioned earlier how I plugged in the Pano 120C to power it up, but you don't actually need to do that, because the handy thing about this light is that you can actually get this Peak battery, which you just clip straight onto the 120C using the Ace E-lock. So it's completely wireless, so you don't have to faff around with cables and cable management. It's just a total clean setup. What's more, the Amaran Peak is a 86.4 watt-hour battery system, and it can deliver up to 170 watts, which is basically like having a portable wall socket in your pocket. So it's plenty to power the 120C at full blast through an entire filming session, and still have enough juice left to film another video as well. And not only does it work with the Pano 120C, it also works with the 60C panels as well. And so if you want to use the Peak when you're using the softbox, that's absolutely fine, because you've got clearance to attach the Peak to the bottom of the light. So when the 60C light panel showed up, which are pretty much tablet size by the way, very small and compact and lightweight, I was then able to experiment with the 3-point light setup with as little floor clutter as possible. And even though these 60C light panels are lightweight and small, they are so powerful, enough to softly fill in unwanted shadows for a more pleasing look. Okay, so I moved the 120C so it's pointing up towards the ceiling. There you can see it just went off. If I turn it all the way up, you can see it's flooded the room with light. This is at 100% brightness. And the Pano, so which one's that? That's that one, that's my main light. I'm actually going to turn that down to, because it's at 28% at the moment, I'm going to turn that down to 16%. And then I've got my fill light here, which to be fair, I don't need, because it actually looks all right. But if I did want to just add a little bit more, just fill in the shadow on this side, which isn't, you know, pronounced, I can just add that there. Don't know if you saw much of a difference. So that's full brightness, way too bright. That's 6%. So this is with it off. This is with it on. Just turn it down a little bit more. 3%, so off and on. And so let me just turn all the lights off again. So the main light that I always have is one that just floods the room with light, because again, I like a natural look. So that's the 120C, which is currently pointed up to the ceiling so that the light is bouncing off the ceiling. That's what that looks like. And then I have my key light. So yeah, that one. And I'm going to turn it down a little bit because I don't think it needs to be that bright. And then if you needed to, if you wanted to take away the shadow, I actually don't mind this on this side, but if you wanted to, you could then add the third light just to take away a little bit of that shadow on that side of your face. if you wanted to. And so like I mentioned earlier, these lights, the 60C, the 120C, they are ultra light. Ultra quiet, so you can't actually hear them whilst you're recording. It's so faint, it's just not going to get picked up by the audio. And then the other bonus is the fact that they are just travel size. They're so portable, and because they come in their little cases, you can actually get everything in there and just carry it around without having to worry about having everything in random different bags and different places. So the Pano 120C with the peak battery works really well if you just want one light and you just want to have as much light as possible to simulate a window kind of look, natural light. And then with the two 60C panels, it then turns it into a tidy 3-point light setup. So I've dropped links to everything in the description and pinned comment, so you can check them out further if you're interested and you want to see more about them. Otherwise, I will catch you guys on the next video.